Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It's NMeade here. Another month has come to a close, and you all know what that means. Another month of world records to review. 9 new world records were set for the month of August 2019. Let's get started. Starting off this month, we have some activity on Daisy Circuit. Luke continued his efforts from last month and made some substantial progress this month. Starting on the first day of August, he improved the previous world record by 20 milliseconds with a time of 1:28.602. And 11 days later, on August 12th, Luke had a monster of an improvement for this course by close to 200 milliseconds. 177 milliseconds precisely, with an end time of 1:28.425. I don't know about you, but those ending digits look so clean, and his run definitely exemplifies that. Before hitting a few key points here, I'd like to first highlight that Luke's 1:28.602 this month was done with only one stair dive. That's absurd. That's crazy. I can't even wrap my head around this at all. The standard that Luke has pushed his track to at this point. Hitting only one stair dive with this time, like, gosh, just to think, like 2010, 2011, like mid 129 was just obscene with 3 dives with Funky Kong. Like, it's just craziness. It's craziness, y'all. And Luke's 1:28.425 had 2 stair dives and overall had no major flaws apart from not getting the stair dive on lap 2. However, there are a few things to keep in mind other than a stair dive each lap here that I wanted to highlight. Getting a slip off of the coping after the stair dive is important. The airtime off of this can vary, and sometimes you can stick to the ground, and sometimes you take it too tight and just slam into the fence on the right hand side. Now, assuming you get the favorable airtime, you can squeeze a lot of time out of soft drifting this main turbo on the next roundabout as a result. Something that's overlooked is hitting these cones right here, both in the tunnel and on the hairpin turn. I'm going to slow this down so you can see what I mean. Look at how precise the bike is in between the cones and the wall, pixeling these 2 mid cones on the row of 4 in the tunnel right here. Each cone you avoid can save anywhere from maybe 15 to 30 milliseconds, I want to say, which is also heavily dependent on the angle in which you drift into it. And sometimes, and regionally enough, the angle you hit the cone can be so bad that you stop in your tracks immediately and your run just fails there, which is incredibly annoying. And I wanted to focus on the finer details like this to further show the depth of how impressive these runs and lap times are. And the last thing to highlight is the last main turbo is notoriously frustrating. You can stick normally like this and drift as normal, right? You would think, okay, that's normal track mechanics, but sometimes you can stick to this and you're literally wheelie locked, and no matter how many times you press hop, the hop will not come out and your entire run fails, which is incredibly annoying. But then the third scenario, yes, there's a third scenario, guys. You can get a little bit of airtime like this, and if you react fast enough, you can use it to your advantage. Getting airtime, you can get a slip drift here and charge the main turbo insanely fast and save a lot of time on each last turn here. And you can see the time save in this comparison on the end of lap 1 just to show how much it can save. The current best known splits as of today's upload date give a 1:28.168, less than 300 milliseconds off of Luke's newest world record. Amazing work, Luke, and keep it up. Next up, we head to a more chaotic landscape, where we have more activity on Grumble Volcano Glitch with some exciting new developments this month. First, on August 8th, Ejay reclaimed the world record from Fizz by 13 milliseconds with a time of 17.651. And only 2 days later, Ejay has another improvement, a bit more substantial this time, by 69 milliseconds with a time of 17.582. The quacker maneuvering around the rock in these runs are very impressive the more you rewatch these runs over and over again. Congrats on these very solid improvements here, Ejay. 20 days later, near the end of the month on August 30th, Ross would get the world record here for the first time, improving the world record by 121 milliseconds with a time of 17.461. Ross becomes the first player to set a world record on Grumble Volcano Glitch with the task entry strategy. This really surprised me, as I did not anticipate this being successfully utilized in a run for quite some time. And to show the magnitude of how much this saves, it's crazy, guys. Just look at this lead into lap 2. It's crazy. On the track that's only 17 seconds and change, to be over a second ahead. It's crazy. And definitely very impressive for Ross to keep this together with over 1 second of a lead still into lap 3. Definitely on mid to low 16 pace. But unfortunately losing most of the lead on the last sequence before the finish line, but still clutching out an improvement nonetheless. Now this was amazing. I wanted to throw this in too as well for a different perspective of the comparison, just to show how far Ross was in this run compared to the other two previous world records this month. The current best known splits as of today's upload date give a 15.673. And it honestly seems realistic for at least a mid 16 second time to be set here. And with several players in the mix now, I'm sure it will happen before too long. Collectively, congrats to both Ejay and Ross for your improvements. It's time for another cliche NMeade transition. Are you ready? In great contrast, we're cooling off with the icy landscape of N64 Sherbet Land, where we had a huge improvement on the glitch category. You're all seeing this improvement correctly, I promise. On August 18th, Ross was also active on this track. He reclaimed the world record by almost 7 seconds. 6 seconds, 992 milliseconds, with a time of 1:17.754. Ross becomes the first person to complete a 2 for 3 N64 Sherbet Land glitch world record using the Magic Cruiser. This dramatic of a time cut is of course insanely impressive to see. However, this perfectly shows just how much time the Magic Cruiser saves and pure driving capability over the Spear on this track. And just starting it off from sheer technique and execution on Ross's part 2, Ross had a commanding almost 4 second lead into lap 3 after pulling off the 2 shroom glitch on lap 1 and the respawn 1 shroom glitch on lap 2 with very quick setups and execution. And Ross saved a little bit over 3 more seconds on lap 3 driving as well. And although Skyly's former world record here had a mishap of driving the wrong way out of the cave on lap 3, most of this time save really does come from being able to use the Magic Cruiser here and taking advantage of its driving capability on the icy landscape compared to the Spear. Now, disclaimer, I might be wrong, but I think I am right. But I believe the 1 shroomer glitch in general, whether you land or you get the respawn one, no matter what, I believe the Magic Cruiser window for this is a bit tighter just because of the sheer speed difference between the Magic Cruiser and the Spear, just to add icing on the cake as to how ridiculous of a run this is. All in all, this was quite the run to pull off. Big congrats to you, Ross. Now, we head to my favorite track, fellas. That's right, it's Maple Tree Way, which had 2 glitch improvements this month by none other than the madman himself, Justin. You can always count on this man to come out of the woodwork, no pun intended by the way, with crazy improvements somewhere. And this month it happened to have been here. Justin made 2 massive cuts here of nearly 2 seconds a pop. First off, on August 20th, where Justin reclaimed the world record from Breakson by 1 second 815 milliseconds with a time of 1:49.140. And just 2 days later, he manages another large improvement of 1 second 624 milliseconds with a time of 1:47.516. I'd like to highlight here that these are 2 world record improvements within 2 days, having to pull off the one shroom glitch here, which is arguably one of the hardest glitches to pull off in the game. Beyond having to do this one shroom glitch, some other points of time save hinge on your entry into the hut area, such as in these comparisons where you can clearly see what type of entry saves time and which one does not. One scenario, you can smack right into the hut, losing all of your momentum, where the other, you kind of hit the hut, hit the fence a little bit in such a way that you can preserve your momentum and move forward, saving a lot of time. Probably the most bizarre and funny part to me was in his newest improvement, where on lap 3, he does a turning 2-shroom glitch without the reversing strategy and aligning it. Now, I've never seen this before. I can only assume he went for this crazy strategy with it on lap 3 because of his entrance into the hut, lost a lot of time, and he did not get a slow cannon on lap 2 as well. Very briefly, as I don't think I've covered this technique before, the slow cannon or a low cannon, whichever name people use for this. This occurs when you're colliding with the fence at nearly the same time as you enter the cannon, and you're not at full speed in the cannon as seen by the speedometer. And as a result, when you land lower and earlier, meaning you can do the recovery faster than not getting it. I do speak from experience. I definitely know the feeling when things have just gone completely wrong, you've lost a lot of time in your run, and you're like, you know what, I'm just gonna go for everything as fast as possible, just YOLO it and see what happens. And with Justin's 2 improvements this month, he improved the world record by a collective 3 seconds, 439 milliseconds. Crazy, absolutely crazy. The current best known splits as of today's upload date for the 2 for 3 glitch strategy is a 143.712. Congrats on your improvements, Justin. Lastly, we end the month of August with an improvement on GCN DK Mountain on the no shortcut category. Logan improved his own world record by 101 milliseconds with a time of 2:05.378 on August 25th. Logan was a little bit over 200 milliseconds behind into lap 2, but ended up making up all that distance and gaining enough to improve the world record by as much as he did. Much time save on this track will come down to a clean mountain descent sequence, where you maintain your wheelie for a long period of time, as well as how fast you can execute the ending shortcut on all 3 laps. A hidden time save I'll highlight is at the end of the mountain where you transition to the grass and dirt section. In the majority of circumstances in this game, it is faster to not be in the air. However, this track is one of those exceptions here. Sticking to the mountain is insanely slower than getting favorable airtime. Especially, look at the speedometer right over here when you're landing. You land at max speed, which is the most important part of this airtime. And at this transition in particular, getting a little bit of airtime is the fastest scenario, and pulling off a wheelie right away when you land will get you to max speed right away. Compare this to not getting this airtime and slicking, you're at base speed accelerating slowly. The current best known splits as of today's upload date give a 2:04.832. Congrats on your improvement, Logan. And like that, my fellas, we conclude reviewing all of the world records set in August 2019. This does unfortunately end the streak of 10 or more world records set every single month by barely missing the mark with 9 world records, just 1 off. Close enough, I'd say. There are a few positives, however. The activity in the month of August officially pushes us over 100 world records set in the year of 2019 thus far, in the first 8 months, with 102 world records, or an average of 12.75 world records set per month. The time trial community is still going very strong, and it is a continued pleasure to review all of the world record activity month by month. I thank you all as always for watching. If you would like to see more content like this coming to the channel, please do give the video a thumbs up and subscribe if you have not done so already, as it always helps with the overall growth of the channel and getting the video out to more people. I don't mention this too often, but I do stream over on Twitch several times per week, which is just NMeade on Twitch. It's always linked in the top of the description of all my videos, if you want to check it out. And with that, my fellas, I'll see you all next month, where we'll review all of the world record set for the month of September 2019. Take care.